Good morning.
Kickoff 2025 in style. Set us how your impressions of camp were, and kick us off this week with getting ready for Texas State.
Yeah, really good camp. Great time of year. Finally get to coach and play football again. The practice opportunities go by fast, that's for sure. A lot to accomplish, with some new people on the team, even going back from January and in June, and a great mix of returners. But yeah, finding our identity, creating our identity, and coming together as a team. It's been really good. Love our guys, love our culture, and super excited about getting to play football.
Perfect. Rob, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, Coach, obviously, usually the most important position on a football team is the quarterback position. And heading into the season, how comfortable are you with your top two guys? And has either really separated himself from the other?
Yeah, it's a good question. We talked a little bit as a team yesterday. We had a team meeting before practice, and I kind of went through each position group. And, my comment to our whole team on the quarterback situation is that it's as deep of a room as I can remember, in terms of our comfortability. They each have, right, their strengths, things that they do best and whatnot, but it's a good room, and it's a deep room. And you're right, it's super important. They're all built the right way, in terms of their character, their ability to lead, and I'd say the three, have different styles in that as well. But we feel as though we're in great shape there at the quarterback position.
Follow up to that with the skill position. How about the running backs? McMillan is back again, hopefully healthy, and you bring the young man in from Michigan, and there's obviously some other guys in the room as well. Do you feel you have any playmakers at that position right now?
We do. Again, it's a really, really deep spot for us. You're talking about Tavi, transferred in. It seems like he's been with us for years now. A really good player, the right fit, bigger back, strong and powerful. And, he didn't play at running back as much as he'd like to at Michigan. And so he is really, really ramped up, to make this season count in a really cool way. And then Dante was supposed to be his last year. And, with his injury there at Washington, he's got another last chance, and he's playing like it, as well. And James has transferred in and has done really well. And you got Joey Mattard, who really came on at the end of the season last year. And, JT Bernal is no longer a freshman. It goes on and on. It's a really good group.
Well, my first two questions will follow into this one, because those first two groups are only going to be as good as this next group, and that's the offensive line. We lost some bodies along there through the portal and graduation and so forth. But how do you feel with this young group that you have stepping up this year?
Yeah, I again mentioned this to the team last night that, first of all, Coach Wiesehand's done a really good job of preparing the guys to play multiple positions. Just needed to have a group that what we would call is above the line, guys that we feel good about playing on game days. And then we're also going to be at every position, and I think this is the key into our new world of college football, is developing guys all the way throughout the season. When you have so many new people, I think it's foolish to think that you're a finished product going into week one. To play your best football, in November and December, you got to keep developing people and figuring it out. So, but that group is really athletic, and have really, really worked well together. And so we've got a good mix, of experience, and then some guys that haven't played football here, but we think are certainly ready for Saturday afternoons.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Andrew, you want to ask away?
circle back to the quarterback position. Have you decided on a starter yet, or is that something you're going to keep under wraps until Saturday evening?
Yeah, we have, but we're not announcing that quite yet. But we've got we've got our direction.
Gotcha. And then the other one I wanted to ask is any injuries or anybody you're kind of concerned about for week one, or I guess beyond that?
Yeah, we've lost 2 guys in the secondary. That'll be for the season, which is unfortunate. And Jordan Toney and Davion Williams, and so those guys will not be playing this season.
Gotcha. That's all I had.
TC?
Yeah, Coach, a couple of questions for you. You know, you're facing a team with back-to-back 8-win seasons, but they've got transfers at quarterback to prepare for and a new mix on the offensive line. How did you prepare defensively for a team with so many new faces at key offensive positions?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, a first game, we just reminded the staff here a couple of days ago that even when you know your own identity, and obviously you just watch a ton with your opponent, and then, a couple of years ago, you'd have a pretty good feel for who was coming back. But even when you knew the personnel, there's staffs have 9 months to tinker with what they do, and to self-scout, and sometimes even go in completely different directions. And so first game, you've got to know who you are. You've got to do your best with the opponent. You've got to have a plan. And then part of that plan is to know that you're going to see things that you haven't seen. You're going to see people, that you hadn't necessarily prepared for. So that's just part of a first game. But the thing about Texas State, they were, I think, top 10 in total offense and in points, and they're super fast. And the way that they're talking about their younger quarterback is that he's, one of the fastest of the group. And so, that's what puts, a ton of pressure on you is their speed on offense.
Well, they've had some really great linebackers, and they've got a new core of linebackers. And it got me thinking, when you look at your team and what you've seen for the last 3 weeks in camp, what do you think maybe is the sweet spot for success against their defense? And what do you maybe think about a ratio for pass to run that makes Eastern Michigan healthy and dangerous offensively?
Yeah, we've got to be able to run the ball effectively, and we've got to be able to move it in the air. I've always believed that. The way that I talk about it, to our team or to our offensive staff is we want to be 50-50 at the end of the season. So, there are game plans and there's course of games where, you could be heavy either way, but you have to be equally proficient both on the ground and in the air. And, sometimes when you're RPOing and whatnot, the defense dictates, what you're going to be doing, either run heavy or pass heavy in that game. But at the end of the year, we've got to be right at that 50-50 mark and run pass.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Coach, you've had a couple great linebacking cores the last couple of years. Now you have guys like Marco Paterno, who, if anybody watches scrimmage, the guy hits like a Mack truck. How do you feel about your linebacking core going into this season?
Well, when I talked about those guys again to the team, just talking a little bit of a preview of where we're at and what we're so excited about. Zach Mochin is the linebacker that has experience for us, and he went out at the very end of the Jacksonville State game, which obviously was really early last year. So we've had the bulk of the crew for longer than since January, but we have had a couple of guys join in January as well. And I think that Coach Needham, Coach Dugan do a masterful job, and as you've mentioned, going back to the, Joe Spracios, right? And the Junkums and Murphys and whatnot. Even in that limited amount of time, to bring those guys along to figure out their strengths, what they do best, and, to get them going in our system to play at a high level. So we've done that before and need to do it again, with really Zach being the guy that has known it and, started here since his, days graduated from high school.
Coach, you had Chad Ryland, then you had Jesus Gomez. Now you've had quite a legacy of kickers. How do you feel about that room and the field goal kickers you have this season?
Yeah, so, we've got two of them, and, Nathan Dibert was an all-conference player in the SEC, and, we think that he's super talented. And then we, a year ago, brought Rudy Kessinger in, again, out of high school, and he sat behind Jesus last year and learned, and all the while we were excited about him and knew that he had talent. And so those two guys are going to be handling our kicking duties. Neither have kicked in a game for Eastern Michigan, and as I go through every position, there's going to be guys who are playing for us that may have played a lot of football but haven't played here at Eastern Michigan. And so, there's some excitement, about that, and guys actually do it on game day and whatnot. But our specialists here have always been top notch. I don't think, Mitch Tomasek is the leader, of that group, and is a, multiple time all conference player at punter. And even though it's not the same position, those guys are around each other a lot, and he knows the standard and the expectation, and has done a great job, of leading that group. So I think there's a lot of confidence in our specialist group.
Coach, how do you feel you and your staff have adapted to the new world of college football, NIL, to transfer portals, constantly recruiting? How do you feel that's gone for you and your staff?
It's different, but, you figure out, the new rules, even when they change suddenly and really late. Just like with everything else, you figure out what the guidelines are and whatnot, and then you go to town. You look back, I don't know, you can look at the quarterback position, over the last 4 or 5 years. We've had some pretty good ones who've been transfers, and virtually at every position. I think we could go through it and say, we just talked about the linebackers. You're talking about team captains. We just announced our team captains. We had 2 guys who just came in January who were voted by the team and coaches as team captains. So I think, we've done that well. We know who we are, and so it definitely helps us in recruiting. In January, June, whenever we're recruiting the transfer portal, guys are leaving because they've had great success and want somewhere new, maybe a higher level, or they've been at a place where they didn't get the opportunity, that they wanted to get. And so it's always about wanting to play, right? And so that's the no-brainer. And when they come here, I say, I get that, but I'm going to remind you of all the things that are important, and they're important, but you're not thinking about that right now. You're just thinking about me, and how am I going to get, mine, and the culture, your teammates, the relationships, how we do things, integrity, honesty, all that stuff that matters. And it, you're just not thinking about it right now. And so I think we do a really good job of attracting people who want what we are and who we are. And that's why I can say, boldly and proudly that we just have a very strong culture, because we find guys that fit who we are. You're going to be talking to, Mickey and Josh here. 2 phenomenal examples of the kind of men that we have in our program on and off the field. And so, we attract, the right kind of people, and we mean what we say what we mean. Our guys who have been here know our standards and our expectations, and Yeah, and so I think guys enjoy being in our program, and so that's how we've recruited in this era, and it's been good. Guys still, all the talk, everything on articles isn't about the kind of experience that they're having and, the relationships, and it is about playing time and whatnot, but it's all about money. And there's, a lot of people with money that are miserable, right? And so just, some of the important things that when people actually really sit down, even though that's not what's talked about by the world or society or the media, still matter. Still matter. So I feel really good about how that's going.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Caleb?
Coach, you've been doing this for a long time now. This is your 12th season. Would you say the atmosphere and excitement around this team is any different than it's been in years past?
I'll tell you how it's the excitement. There's not different levels of excitement, right? I mean, I can't. If it was 100%, there's just a new 100% every year. You put so much into it. We love this game and all that goes with it and into it, and to be able to take your crew that you've brought in and built up and brought together and go compete, on a national stage and get on a charter flight and fly to Austin, Texas. I mean, it's just it's awesome. The excitement about this is I really believe in today's game. The challenge is that you have to build your team, right? And then conventionally and unconventionally, but they're both conventional now. We still recruit high school players and always will, but we also recruit the transfer portal. So, but we have 50-some new players, going back to January. So part of it is how do you bring all those people together, right? It used to be, right, you might have 20, 25 new freshmen, but, right, they're going to, bake in the oven for at least a year, right? Be scout team, and then, you have your crew that graduates, and then those guys aren't freshmen anymore. I just mentioned, everybody's transferring and wants to play, right? And so how, from January on, do you bring everybody? It's still football. No one can play this game by themselves. It doesn't work. We need each other. And so that's something that gets lost sometimes in this, can assemble talent, but that talent better work together, better be a part of something bigger than themselves. I don't know the last time a college football team at, FBS level went undefeated all the way through, right? You're going to go through hard times. Every team has injuries. Every team has guys that doesn't travel. Every team has guys that don't start. And so, are you going to do this or are you going to break apart? Are you truly going to become a team, right? And so that's the first challenge. And then, to some degree, you got to do it again in June. You know what I mean? Which is crazy, but have we embraced it? Heck yeah, man. Let's newcomers in June, and you do it all over again to some degree, right? And then you've got to teach all of those guys how to play our brand of football at a really high level, right? So there's massive excitement, but it's just not, hey, these guys have been here for 2 years and, man, they have played a little bit and have learned from these guys and now they're ready and taking it over. So there's excitement about that, the new part of that challenge. Playbooks cannot be as thick as they used to be. And in my mind, that's foolish, right? You've got to think about the guys who are going to be playing, how much they can learn and how quickly, right? And put them in positions to be really successful. So, and then I mentioned earlier, part of the excitement isn't just now, game week and the first game, it's as a staff. I love this challenge is how can we keep getting better, all the way throughout the season, all the way throughout. And what are we going to be doing, tangibly, not just to hope that happens or for that it happens naturally, but intentionally, to make our team better and to develop and bring guys along. And so, yeah, there's a ton of excitement.
You also mentioned the decision to name the team captains. You did that over the weekend. What went into that decision to name those 6 men as team captains to lead the team in the battle this season?
Counting votes. Yeah, that's, I have the team vote, and so I count the votes. Now, we did do it later than we've done, and that's part of the new era. When you talk about that, and I've always done it in April after spring ball. I want our team to have gone through winter conditioning, because our captains are certainly going to be hard workers, right? And then you want to go through spring ball, right? Because you want to make sure that guys are voting for people who know what the heck they're doing and are doing it at a high level and are being able to influence and lead others. Well, we pushed it back later just because to give our team more time, right, to be able to identify and to know who people are. So this is as late as I've done, as long as I can remember. But that's part of the new era of college football. That's why we did it that way. It's the first time we've ever had 6 captains in my career. I've had 1, I've had 2, I've had 3, I've had 4, mostly 4, but have never had 6. But that's just how the vote fell. And when I looked at it, it made sense. Got the 3 different levels of the defense, right? You've got offensive line, the run game, and a quarterback, the pass game. On offense, you have guys who came here as high school guys who came here in January, guys who came here from junior college or came here a couple years ago, and all great dudes on and off the field. And but that's why we did it this weekend.
Lastly, Terry Lockett Jr. received the honor over the weekend of wearing the special number 2. The illustrious number and honoree of Reed, who sadly passed away. What would you say went into the decision to give him that number entering his final season with you guys?
Yeah, so we've always said it's going to be someone, an upperclassman, the most senior and best wide receiver. I mean, he's a returning all-conference player, in a room that people on the outside don't know what we have, but they do know about Terry. And so in terms of last year's performance and being here now going into his 3rd year, he was a no-brainer for the Deuce.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Quick comment, Mickey and Josh are here. As you referenced, they're coming up next. Just what have they meant to your program?
Yeah. I remember being in Mickey's home, and he just shared, when we're doing introductions during our team meetings during camp and whatnot. Tough senior year, broken bone. And I mean, it was like early in the very first game of his senior year. But we had identified him as somebody we wanted in our program. And again, back when we recruited Mickey, it was okay for freshmen to develop, right? Go through the process. And I remember him coming in at Western Michigan. I think it was when Howie went down, if I remember that right, and played the back half of that season and played really well. And we always wondered, man, can he get to 300 pounds? He's just really good athlete and whatnot, played defensive end and all of that. And I think he's been at that now for a couple of years and is just consistently really, really, really good. Made of all the right stuff, and love having a guy on our offensive line and a captain of our team that has gone through his entire journey here and had opportunities to go other places and wanted to finish here, and got my vote for captain, because of it. That's not the only reason, but still want to reward that, in this era. And then Josh came from the great city of San Francisco, and remember his official visit here, with his folks. And there's guys, right, you always have watched all the film and made all of those decisions often before you meet guys. But the meeting part, right, matters, right? Our guys, our coaches, myself, and there's guys that you just know right away are, fit for our program. I told him this yesterday too. He asked me how I feel about these 2 guys. He had my vote for captain, and wasn't named a captain, but he's got another year. But that's how I feel about him. He's had 2 tough injuries. I mean, you've got to go way back. You've got to go back to the 22 season to really see, Josh Scott play football. But man, he's he's awesome, and on and off the field, and can't wait for him after battling back 2 injuries to be able to be on the field, representing Eastern Michigan football.
Thanks for your time this morning, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Who would like to go first?
Go get him, Mickey.
All right, guys online, if you want to fire away.
I'll start with Mickey. Just curious now, you've worked your way up, you've played different positions, but you've battled injuries, but you're stuck with the program, which I really admire. I truly do. I'm just saying that. But coming to this year now, you look upon as a leader. It's a little bit different role for you now. Are you comfortable accepting that role?
Yeah, I think a big factor into how I lead is, like, obviously I've been here since a freshman, so I've seen different old linemen lead. I've been through a lot of different older guys, so I've seen their perspective, kind of gotten to choose what I liked from them, how they led. So I think it's kind of helped me along the way, and like over the past 6 to 8 months leading the younger guys, I think that's helped me really lead these guys in the right direction and steer them the right way instead of taking them to a different direction.
How is your relationship with you had an offensive line coach this year? You were Coach Coffin for quite a few years. How's that transition been for you?
Yeah, I think it's been great. I think Creighton hired the best choice possible for us here. I think he's made us understand the game of football more, understand defensive, what coverage the DBs are in. So I think that's helped us pick up blitzes, and it's just opened our mind to the game of football more rather than just understanding what the D linemen are going to do, what the linebackers are going to do. It's really opened our eyes to the game of football and what we can see on the field.
I see you're from Caledonia, Wisconsin, so you probably grew up in Cheesehead.
Yeah.
How does it feel being the Lions' little brother now, being really a win on their schedule twice a year?
I mean, I've seen the Packers growing up beat the Lions a lot. So I mean,
Okay, that's past. That's past.
I think the Packers are going to be great this year. I think they got a good team this year.
Yeah, you're probably from Wisconsin, because that's your belief every single year. That's good stuff. Hey, look forward to watching you, and I look forward to you staying healthy and being a leader all year.
Appreciate it.
Andrew?
Yeah, Mickey, I just want to ask about, obviously, with the way college football works now, you guys are kind of always shuffling in new faces. And how does that come along to the offensive line group of new guys coming along, some returners, like just that mix of dudes and coming up with the 5 best to go out there in this day and age?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to know that we only got 3 new guys who only been here for 6 months this year. So I mean, it's not really new this year. It's a lot of guys who don't have experience, but I think it's important to know that we've been doing a lot of bonding. I mean, every day after workouts, after practices, watching film together, hanging out. And I think that's helped us become one. And Weezy, the line coach, always emphasizes that there's 5 stakes on the table, and he's going to put the best 5 out there. So I mean, even if I'm not, if I'm doing bad, someone else is going to go in and play. So Weezy expects the best 5 to go out there, and that's what we're going to do.
What were maybe some of the bonding things you guys did in the offseason?
Yeah, so we watched a lot of film together. We cooked out a couple times, went to a teammate's house in Michigan, and he had a pool, cooked out there. So I mean, just a lot of stuff like that where obviously food was involved, so that's always good for the O-line. But yeah, that was some things that we did this summer.
Anything else, Andrew?
Mickey,
All right, TC, sorry, go ahead.
Mickey, Eastern Michigan has ended up with a very formidable schedule. You draw 5 or 6 schools in the MAC that are going to be very tough. They probably look at you the same way, and you've got a pretty challenging non-conference schedule. What is the key inside your locker room and within the position groups and the team overall to say, hey, every week is going to be a battle, and how do we manage this and like Coach says, overcome the lows and reach for the highs?
Yeah, I think it's important. Like after watching week 0 of college football this past Saturday, I think it's important to do our job. I'd say like watching week 0 was very sloppy by teams and a lot of turnovers, a lot of penalties. So I think that's a big emphasis, is just doing your job and doing it correctly. It is week 1. It's the first game of the season for us, so I think it's important to take a 1-0 approach, take it one step at a time, and just focus on that game, that day, that rep in practice, so you don't look ahead and just focus on yourself in the present.
Tom, how have you adjusted with Coach Wiesenhand moving you around in the offensive line?
I mean, ever since I've been at Eastern, I've always kind of been at different positions. So, I mean, it's nothing new for me, really. Just kind of understanding, like, my time at center, like, the way Weezy teaches, you understand and, you can see the defense more. Right. So I think it's helped the way he teaches the game of football to, like, understand the little things at each position. So when you go up there and you're in your stance and the defense shifts, or you can see the coverage and this is this coverage, we might expect a blitz from the edge. So I think it's really helped, like his style of teaching has helped playing different positions.
How long did it take you to adjust to, I got to snap the ball first before I actually make that block? Did that take a little bit of learning?
Yeah. As soon as Weezy showed up, first day he had everyone snap. So even in winter, after winter workouts, the O-line would go out and snap. So I think that was a very big piece to like learning and understanding to snap. So once we got to spring ball, it wasn't like a brand new thing. Like I already understood the game and understood what to do at center.
Thank you.
Any questions for Scott? No? All right. Thanks, Mickey.
Appreciate it.
Rob, you want to kick us off?
Yes, I do. Josh, I'm just kind of curious. You battled the injury bug, and when you played, you really played well. Believe me, I watch our secondary closely. How do you, right now, dealing with the few injuries you've had with your group this year already, how do you go into this season and try to keep everyone positive, being the leader of that secondary?
It's a new season, so I feel like, everybody's already like positive and ready to go, you know what I mean? So I think like, everybody's motivated. So I don't think, that's not really a problem, you know what I mean? Everybody's ready, everybody's motivated. We're excited for the season, and really do something special this year. So, yeah.
What do you think your strength is? You think you're better at man coverage, a zone guy? What do you feel you bring to the table, Josh?
I think I'm really I'm good all around DB corner. I could play outside the slot. Even play some safety a little bit. So I feel like I'm good all around. I'm a good all around player. I'm not afraid to put my nose in there and the run fits and things like that. So I feel like I'm a good all around player. Whatever the coach need me to do, I feel like I could do.
We're called upon to link up with this defense because there's a lot of new faces that are going to be out there on defense this year. What stabilizing force, or what do you think you could bring to this defense to just, if things start going south a little bit, just to kind of rally the troops and calm them?
Honestly, just do my job, and being an older guy, being here for years, for the 3-4 years that I've been here now, just doing my job, and just being vocal, telling people, just bring people together, because, being an older guy, my teammates, they look up to me. So, if they see that I'm calm when everything's going fast and stuff, and I'm calm and collected, it'd be easier for them. So just, just being calm, telling like we good, it's part of the game. So like, just got to stay level. You can never get too high, can never get too low.
I'm excited to watch you play the entire season, stay healthy, because when you're out there, we are a really, really much different defense. So I appreciate you. I look forward to this season.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Andrew?
Yeah. Joshua, I just wanted to ask about, kind of from your perspective of like, how much can you know about how good you are as like a defense or as a team in camp versus once you actually play your first game? Because I know that like, once you really play a game, you really start to get a gauge, and like, how much has that maybe changed as teams more transfers, more new faces? Like, how important has the first game become in seeing how good you really are?
I would say, you like you said, like you don't really know until you really get into the game, until you really get in that fire for real, you know what I mean? But like, I would say like, I feel like our defense right now I feel like we have a great defense. We have great energy. We have a lot of depth. We got a lot of people like that could play high quality football. You know what I mean? In all position rooms, like not just the starters, even the backups. So I'll say like I feel like we have a good team, good defense, got great depth. So I'm very confident going into the season about our defense.
And that depth probably lends itself to a lot of like versatility and like really like you start to map out personnel and sort of different ways like, hey, we can do this, we can do that, maybe we shouldn't do this. Like you really start to develop that as you.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Just you're fine. With the defensive depth, I would imagine that breeds a lot of versatility in what you can do, and then as you kind of get into the season and you start to see, hey, what really works, we can put this guy in this spot and he'll excel there. You kind of learn those like really finer points as you go.
Yeah, exactly. And also just with the depth, it brings competition, Like when like multiple people is in your position room are good, like, they making plays, it makes you want to make plays, like we competing. It's just like competition, it breeds, it's good, man. Competition is good.
Thank you.
TC?
Sure. Coach Creighton, and I'm sure the rest of the coaching staff have spoken at length about Texas State, what to expect. Coach today mentioned the speed of Texas State specifically. From your position and because of your experience with the program, what are you prepared to do to try and mitigate a team's speed advantage?
I wouldn't say it's an advantage, because, they got some speed. We got speed too, you know what I mean? We get paid too. We play, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm not really, speed, yeah, I can run too. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really worried about speed. I just got to do my job. As long as our technique is good and we do our job, listen to the coaches, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we'll be good. So, like, I'm not really too harping on their speed or what they could do. I'm really worried about, we're worried about what we could do because we got the talent. So if we go out there and play our A game, it doesn't matter what they do. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate the confidence. So from that standpoint, what are you confident about in this Eastern Michigan defense and the secondary?
I'm confident from the top, from the bottom down, from the front line, from the D line to the backers to the back end. I feel like like I said, we have a lot of depth throughout throughout all the position groups. You know what I mean? So I'm really confident about the whole defense. We got a lot of guys. I don't want to single out any guys because there's so many guys that we have that can make an impact in the game. So I'm really excited just for all of us to be able to play together. And just go out there and have fun.
Well, how about this? What have you seen in camp that says, wow, we've really got something special here at this position, or with certain players that have really opened your eyes to their ability, their playmaking, and like you said, their ability to rise to the occasion and make plays in competition with one another?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that question. Say it again.
Like who's stepping
What
up for you?
have you seen during camp that says, hey, we have some special guys here? You mentioned that competition breeds competition and the desire to make plays. Who has really stood out to you defensively in that room that you say, hey, we've got someone special here?
I mean, I could literally go from the top to the bottom, honestly. Like, you know what I'm saying? In the safety room, the corner room, we got a lot of guys. Like, I can name literally everybody. Like, everybody could play in the room. Like, literally everybody could play in the room. So, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I could say guys like, for the safety room, B. Lou. But if I say B. Lou, I got to say Jason. Then I have to say Juice. You know what I'm saying? Got to say Barry, like I said, everybody. You know, in the corner room, we got Ty Diener. We got a transfer that came in, and Caleb, you know. We got young guys like Caleb Dobbs ready to go. Another transfer, Dior Boyd. You know, like I said, man, James Mons. We got Javion Norman. Like I said, I have to name everybody, man. So, like, you know what I'm saying? We all came out. We ready to go, man. We're excited.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I wish you luck. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Joshua, where's your confidence in your shoulder? I know you've dealt with a lot of issues over the last couple seasons. When you've been out on the practice field, have you thought about it at all? Does it feel as good as new?
Nah, honestly, like, you know, I think about my shoulder maybe a little bit before, but then as soon as I put the pads on, it's gone. I don't think about it at all. You know, Steve, we worked a lot this past year or 2 years, you know, on my shoulder. A lot of rehab. We put a lot of work into it, you know, so I could be confident, and I am confident. It feels good. Haven't had any issues throughout camp, you know, and I'm excited. I'm ready.
With 2 years of injuries, at any point did you think about walking away from the game and maybe you wouldn't be able to play anymore?
I would say the only time that I really thought about it was when it happened last season, like that first game. Like when I was in the tent, there was some thoughts like, you know, maybe this may be it because it happened. But like after that, like by the time we got back on the plane, after that game, like I knew like whatever I had to go through to get back on the field, I was gonna do it, and I was ready to take that. I was ready to take those steps, you know, to get better, you know, in rehab and everything. So, I guess I would say not really.
Do you feel comfortable in that harness you're wearing on the shoulder? Have you gotten used to playing with it?
Yeah, I got used to playing with it. It's fine. It doesn't really restrict me from anything or anything like that.
No mobility issues or anything?
Yeah, no, not at all.
All right. Thank you.